Welcome to this week's video tip. Do you want to make your clinic stand out from the competition to make it the first choice in healthcare? You want to get people to reach for your services before they reach for drugs or surgery, or just stay at home in apathy, going on hoping? That's what we're going to talk about this week. And we're going to bring in a subject that might be a little new to you. It's a subject called branding. I'm sure you've heard about it, but we're going to give you a whole different viewpoint on it and relate it to how you work out your own brand. Because the brand is the thing that makes you stand out. It's the thing that people get initially that makes them reach for you rather than for the competition. Branding started back with the cowboys. They would have their cows wandering around the fields and getting mixed up together, and they couldn't differentiate them, and if somebody came along and stole them, they wouldn't be able to show that it was their property, so they started wrestling them to the ground and burning a brand into them, of course. So people after a while became to identify that brand X cows belonged to Farmer Jones, and he was nice and kind, and he fed them well, and they frolicked happily in the fields, and they gave them a back rub at night or whatever. But people learned that if they saw a brand X, it meant that the meat was tender and the milk was good, and it was a very good product. Brand Z might have belonged to Farmer Jones, who was cruel to his cows and kept them in uncomfortable pens and fed them tumbleweed and was mean to them. And they had a whole different experience with Brand Z, because they would look at it and they would learn that it meant that the meat was going to be bad, taste like shoe leather, things like that. So brilliant guy named Sergio Zyman wrote a book called The End of Advertising as We Know It that points that out. And he mentions the marketing motto, which is differentiate or die. And it's something to keep in mind, because if your referral sources and your patients can't see how you're different and preferable from the competition, then they're not going to reach for you first. How they do that is a whole series of things, and how you develop your brand. And there's one single most important thing, though, that I want to introduce to you here. But first, let me do a quick little drill with you that'll underscore this and help you to grasp this. Who was the first person to cross the Atlantic solo? In an airplane, of course. Of course, that was Charles Lindbergh. And the second person was who? Don't remember? Neither 99.9% of everybody else out there. Was a fellow named Ben Hinckley, and he did a faster job on less fuel and actually a much sexier job, but people don't remember him because he didn't stand out. He didn't differentiate himself. He just did the same thing again. But everybody remembers number 3. Now, who was that? That, of course, was Amelia Earhart. And why do they remember her? They remember her because she was the first person in a new field. She was a woman. She was the first woman to fly across the Atlantic solo. In that little drill there, you have the dynamics of branding overall. And that is, you got to be first in the marketplace, or you got to find or create a marketplace to be first in. First in the marketplace, you say baby food, you think of Gerber's. You say tissues in a box, you think of Kleenex. You say rental cars, you think of Hertz. Those were all the people that got there firstest with the mostest. The second style, which is what you need to be doing here, is creating a new identity. Maxwell House dominated coffee for centuries until Starbucks came along and reinvented the whole coffee experience. So that now we go into a Starbucks and it's an eco-religious experience. You get a cup of coffee and a biodegradable little sleeve, and you have nice jazz music, and you can plug your laptop in, and it's a whole experience. And so people pay a premium to get that, and they have pretty well dominated the coffee market here. So how do you do that very specifically? I'm going to give you, if you don't have right now a pen and paper, go grab one. You can pause this and do that, okay? But I want you to write down 2 questions here that I'm going to give you in a second. These have to do with a subject called core competencies. When you're becoming the first in a new market or a new field, you have to look at what is it that you do that's different and preferable to anybody else that's around. I use the term unknock-offable. You can think about it like this. Even if your competition spent a lot of money and a lot of effort and a lot of time, what is it that you do so well that they could never duplicate what it is that you're doing? You need to put your finger on that. Now that's one important component in developing your brand, is that the core competency is the seed of a brand, but it has a lot to do too with how you're perceived by the public. You know, so ask these two questions of your most loyal referral sources and your most loyal clients. You can ask some of your staff too, but usually they're not the people that are receiving your services. So referral sources and clients, ask these two questions. Number one, what is it that we do here at this clinic that you find different and preferable to others around? Is there something that we do better than the others? You know, you want to know that. The second thing is, if you were telling a friend of yours or referring a patient here why they should come to this clinic, if you were doing that, why would you tell them they should come here as opposed to anywhere else? What are the words that would come out of their mouths when they would tell their friends or their patients about why they should be looking to you for help? You know, you get those two, you do a bunch of those, do 50, do 100. After a while, you're going to start to see core competencies come to the surface. There's a lot on this subject, by the way, and that will just get you started. What you need to do is grab a hold of this book, you know, Keys to Private Practice Success. Section 2 of this book has 5 chapters on this subject. It'll give you a lot more information about how to take that seed, how to take that heart of a brand and roll it into a PR campaign. We also do a webinar once a week. Actually, we do 4 different webinars once a week for a month. One of those is called Standing Out, and we get into this subject in a lot more depth. And you can get the book and the webinar at survivalstrategies.com. So tune into those, all right? And that'll give you a lot more help with this. I hope that has helped to get you started. Here at Survival Strategies, by the way, we surveyed our clients and we asked them what we do that's different and preferable. And you know what came up? It was very funny in terms of a branding. Keys to Private Practice Success. You know, we have been doing this now for 22 years with between 4,000 and 5,000 clients. I got so used to saying 4,000 that I realized we're actually up close to 5,000 clients now. And we have learned a depth of information that are all the things that they didn't teach you in college about how to run a practice that we help people with. So that's our particular brand. So check us out, survivalstrategies.com. You can also call if you want to register for the webinar or buy the book. It's 1-800-834-0357. And I hope that's been real helpful. If it has, do me a favor. You notice on YouTube you can rate videos. Go ahead and rate it. It helps us out, and you can make a comment, ask a question, and that sort of thing. So have a fabulous week, and I hope this has been helpful. Bye.